And welcome to Mostly Satisfactory. Last time I had started moving my production of stuff from the old base to the new base, and as you can see there it is. It's creating stuff and popping it into storage. The flaw in my plan was that the putting it into storage was supposed to be an ancillary thing, right? So stuff would come from storage, whoa. Yep. Anyway, I would produce stuff. Some of it would go to production. Some of it would go to storage. And the way things are set right now, it's all going to storage. So I'm thinking I need to use this space out here and move the production further out so that there's a large gap of conveyor belts where stuff comes out of production and then moves into storage. And in that large gap, I can divert stuff from headed towards storage to another form of production. Anyway, that's what I came up with. And so what I would like to do today is to essentially rebuild this production and create that gap. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to knock this out of the way because with the space elevator lined the way it is now, basically the production is going to be coming in from a different direction. I'm going to have to move everything into a right angle. So I'd rather just kind of turn the whole space elevator to face what will eventually be the factory floor. And then this is like it was. And then I won't have to do so much twisting and turning to get it into the space elevator. Anyway, that's the plan. We'll see how it actually goes. And since I didn't get penalized in any way, shape, or form by moving the space elevator last time, I'm assuming I can get away with that again, especially since it's not really moving. I'm just rotating it. So I think that looks about right. That looks right here. And that looks right here. And that looks right there. Just make sure I won't have any production coming in from the power plant side. And you know, I was talking to somebody and they said that you don't really need to use those inputs at all. You can put everything in from out of your inventory at the control panel. Oh yeah, I forgot about that part. I thought something had blown up. Okay. Now, so all this just gotta go. And that means I'm going to be rerunning some of the conveyors that I had a hard time running last time. And you know, a side note from that, after I got through with all that, the right angles and all, I have decided that, especially for the long distance conveyors, 45-degree angles are acceptable now. It's just that they don't really have a 45-degree angle mode. The straight mode, it's all 90 degrees angles, but oops. But we'll get it. And I'm going to see if I can clean up the constructor for the concrete while I'm at it. because, it's not lined up, and I feel compulsive about that. And I think there may be a better way of approaching it. I found out, later into the episode last time that holding down the control key will bring up a snap mode. And I'm wondering if that can be used here. That should be enough. Oops. And this is on top of the fact, as I mentioned at the end of the last episode, that I had forgot to make any type of accommodation for making cable, right? I was making wire, and then I realized after the fact that I needed to make cable, and that hadn't been part of my original layout plan. So we're gonna have to hit multiple birds with one stone here. When did I? Oh, when I took apart and rebuilt the copper smelter in the last episode. That's how I wound up with a lot of copper ore. Okay. Oops. Not the space elevator. The lookout tower. So it's been a while since I said it. So this is just a reminder to anybody who's new to the series that where's the ladder on this thing? There it is. Building from an elevation is actually much easier than building at ground level. So that's why they give you this lookout tower, and it's a very useful tool. So you should use it, like I am. So default mode. Let's go to Zoop, and all the way there. That's 6, and I figure I will do 5 rows of foundation should give me enough space that I can divert as needed. And that's 5. Is it? Yeah, it's 5. Okay, let's get my butt down without dying again. There we go. Now, where all of this came from was, if you remember my last episode, I was talking about like the 2 different models of setting up the factory floor. One would be a I have kind of like a central production line that's set up to produce a number of different goods, but then I actually swap out what those goods are producing based on the needs of the moment. And that is probably how we would set this up and run with it if this was real life, right? But the other thing that I was theorizing was that the way the game's set up, once you start producing something, you need to keep producing it pretty much forever. And so I couldn't have a production line that I would swap out, but rather I would have an ever-growing production line that would get bigger and bigger, and every time I learned to make something new, I would integrate it into the production line and produce it forever. Now, in talking to people about that, that is what they're going to do as a game. Once I start producing something, I need to just keep producing it, which tells me I got to build with an eye toward modularity, with an eye toward scalability, expansion, all that type of jazz up front. And when I was thinking about that, then that's when I realized that I had set this up to not even be remotely scalable, right? I was producing stuff, and 5 feet away I was throwing it into storage, and there was no opportunity in between to send that off to, some other place to be used in an assembler or whatever. So that is when I realized that I was going to have to set up this essentially a buffer zone, right? A buffer zone where stuff's being transported in the open so that I have the space, if necessary, to divert materials as needed to whatever else I happen to have going. Now, this is on top of the idea, too, that as the expansion grows, right, I would have a need for possibly multiple diversions, right? So what I'm saying there is maybe I'll have a need for copper wire to create item X, and then later I'll need copper wire again for item Y, and who knows how many more times that could repeat. So that is what I'm gonna try to accommodate with this more spread out layout. Now, I had heard someone once say that you're never gonna build the perfect factory floor in Satisfactory because as you become more aware of conditions, you realize that your old perfect plan or layout is no longer applicable to the current needs. And that is tricky because, again, in real life, you wouldn't have like such a universal shift under your feet on such a constant and frequent basis. So, I mean, depends on your industry, but they don't rebuild the factory every 6 months. Now, yeah, they might have to change every once in a while, because SUVs are in and pickups are out, or I need metal plates, iron plates, or whatever. But yeah, I understand that, and I think I heard someone say that it's not Satisfactory. It's not about building the perfect factory. It's about It's not about building the perfect factory once. It's about building the perfect factory over and over again. So I don't know. Maybe that's not your experience, but I suspect it is. Now, obviously, if you're an old pro, then you already know what lies ahead, and so your need to build and rebuild is probably more along the lines of restarting the game and starting over from scratch. But for those of us who are still learning what the game is and what it has to offer and how it works, then this is pretty much how we're going to go with it. And yeah, it probably won't be my first trip back to the old base today. won't be my only trip, because I have a need for plates, and I suspect that I will need to go back and get more plates on a frequent basis. I just don't know how many times, right? And stockpiling them, I mean, we're eventually going to have everything here, but for now it's okay the way it is. All this stuff over here is going to have to be cleared out, because I expanded foundations to accommodate this this transport zone. But right before the transport zone will be the beginning of our production zone. And speaking of production, I said I was going to redo this. So let's redo this. Now, there's just no good way to view it, this thing with this big old rock in the way. Certainly not from being this close. It's hard to see if I'm lined up. So yellow means I'm clipping. So best case scenario, I could hold this down. Now the snapping, the control. This is where to put it, but like I mentioned before, that's not centered. And if we look here, so on the left it hangs over a lot more than it does on the right. And if I nudge it, now it hangs over a lot more on the right than it does on the left. And I can't do a half nudge. So control is out. Certainly nudging based off of holding the control button down is out. And it's too high. So I'm thinking, see, now if I get it to blue, that means I completely clear the bottom of the miner. And if I'm not using control, maybe I can get this eyeballed a little more. Yeah, so that's a nudge. And that's the closest to even I've seen it up to this point. And I'm blue, so I'm not going to clip anything. So now if I use a 4-meter foundation, that lines up. And then I can take out the 2-meter foundation and put it back with a 4-meter foundation. And I think that's about as good as it gets. So with that being said, this will be interesting. If I line and so this constructor should be lining up on the foundation, but it is apparently lining up with the miner. So I succeeded better than I thought was possible. And I'm just going to take the ball and run with it. So now we go back to the lessons learned as far as running a conveyor belt from here. And why does it do that? Oh, man, this UI with the conveyor belts is squirrely. I mean, I commented last time that it's pretty squirrely, but right now it seems to be like squirrely on steroids. Okay, so let's line this up. It seems to be taller than it ever was before. I don't think I could get it that tall. Yeah, see, that's an Evel Knievel jump right there. That is, or is it taller than it was? Maybe it's right. It looked taller. Oh, that's definitely taller. That's crazy tall. I didn't know you can get it to do that. I don't know how I got it to do that. Okay, before I kill it, I want to mark where it is, because that's where we're going to do it again, but just not get so crazy on the tall. Okay. There we go. So with that said, let's line this up. Now I know I said I'd accept diagonals, but that's for long distances. This is not a long distance. You know, so the conveyor supports like this. You know, when you deploy them, you get a standard rise, right? In other words, I can set it up and it goes up, you know, 2 more meters, 4 meters, 6 meters from the ground level where it's established. What I would like to see is a mode where, let me make this taller. What I'd like to see is a mode where it builds to the world grid. In other words, not 2 meters up from wherever the bottom of the foundation is, but rather like to a specific elevation, right? In multiples of 2 or 1 or whatever. So that when I connect to the factory floor like this, it is now flat all the way across, and it doesn't necessarily follow the contours of the land. I think I forgot to tell this to make concrete, and I did. So there we go. That's looking pretty good though. And you know, I just said that. I wonder if there was an update or something, because that's what I just described seems to be what that thing is doing right now. Because that looks very level to me. I mean, the ground looks level here too, but it just... And the behavior I saw with the conveyor belt, I wonder if that's... I'll have to check after this to see if there was a Satisfactory update. And maybe the behavior changed out from underneath me, which is kind of spooky because I still haven't fully gotten used to the behavior as it's supposed to be in the first place. So, you know, it's kind of a cruel joke. It's like moving the furniture in a blind man's house. That's not cool, man. Okay. So the concrete's fixed. Now, all we got to do here is extend the factory floor, but before that, Now, this is where stuff is going to get built. And I'm going to need 3 lines here. And I'll show you that in a second. Actually, let's do some weeding. Wee. This kind of reminds me that I need to check on my biofuel production anyway. Haven't done that in a while. Kind of surprised there's nothing on this rock. Well, I guess I'm not surprised because I can actually run up this rock. So they only put stuff on things that are difficult to get to, or on, or around. Oh. Let's go dump this stuff off and see what my biofuel situation is. So, of course, I'd always use the leaves first. I mean, that's not a lot of wood, but looking at the biofuel usage, that big old walking water balloon. Looking at the usage, it looks like we're pretty much relying on the coal power plant for the bulk of our power at the moment. That's perfectly fine. And in fact, after we get all the production moved over, I think we'll have to revisit power and maybe expand coal power production. I mean, we've got the water source, so it's a matter of a little bit of wiring of the water, or rerouting of the water, and splitting the coal line. We might be able, I know we can support at least one more coal power plant, possibly more than that. So let's line up my constructors. Now initially there'll be 3 constructors at this level, right? So there's going to be, let me make sure I'm thinking this through. I will need Yes, so there'll be 3 constructors at this level. You'll have 2 constructors that will handle the initial conversion of copper ingots into copper sheeting and wire, and then a 3rd production line here that will make wire into cable. Squirrely. Okay. So there's my split, right? And now I just need support for the copper sheeting and the wiring. And they'll fit on that. So constructor for both. And I must say that I'm doing a much better job than normal of making sure that my inputs and my outputs are lined up the correct direction than I normally do. Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't need to make the same mistake 25 times to finally learn the lesson. Though a good 15 is probably necessary. Oh, speaking of wire, I need more wire. Careful. I just never get the hang of coming down off of that ladder. So I don't have to run far for wire because I have a stockpile of it already, which is the whole point of this exercise. See? So it works. Okay, build a power pole to feed these 3 constructors. So this comes off of that, and then this feeds the 3. 1, 2, trace. Okay. And then we'll set this to be cable. And that means this one has to be wire. And that means this one has to be copper sheets. You wouldn't want to put them on your bed, though. Well, it might not be bad this summer. It'll keep you cool. Okay, now we want to build a splitter that will feed these 2. Like so. Oh, that worked out. Now we line up the conveyor belt. And can't get an angle on the other one. There we go. So now I just need to get this puppy connected. Yep. Okay. Let's see if it lines up. Altitude wise, like that seems awfully darn straight to me. Okay, so I think we are back in business. I have now built basically what I had before, plus we're able to make the cable. Now it also has a conversion zone or a redistribution zone between the constructors and the storage, so I have an opportunity to divert materials as needed. Look at that. Love it when a plan comes together. So now something I had thought about for a long time is that I just can't keep spreading more and more to the sides, right? I have to horizontal space is limited. So I think the answer here is to go up. And I know you can, because I've seen under the logistics there is a mechanism that lets me go up a level that I have not figured out how to make it work. Which is annoying, but I think it's time to force that issue, right? And so I have 2 more at this level, 2 more storage facilities, and that will be for my iron sheets and my rods. And then I think we'll start the next layer up, and that's where we will store screws. And then, of course, the other stuff like reinforced plates and rotors and all that jazz. And of course, this is going to require more foundations. And a constructor for each. Make sure it lines up with this one, because I told you I'm compulsive. They all need to line up. I think that's about right as far as left and right. No, it's a little bit. That lines up. There we go. And then this one, encroaching other objects clearance. There should be. What in the world? This thing will not settle down. See, it's too wide, but I know it shouldn't be too wide. The one on the left is lined up with the foundation, but the one on the right is a little too far on this side of foundation. So kill it off, and then we will see if we can get this one line up. And that means now I should be able to get this one to line up. And there you go. Okay, so this is going to be plates. That's first plates. Gets a blue ribbon. And this is rods. Okay. Now we need to accommodate screws. The problem I'm having is I look at these constructors and they're substantially taller than the storage containers. So how am I going to accommodate that? I don't know. I can power them up in the meantime, though. Oh yeah, that one's full. You know. So what I can do is I can kill off this connection. Yep, kill off that connection. Now connect that network pole to this network pole, and then run these three off of this. Okay. Okay. I wonder if that manta ray thing ever lands. Probably not. Oops, 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 oops. Fat fingers got in the way. Okay. So, how do I deal with this height difference? There's no way to measure. What I'm thinking I could do is I think I could use foundations as kind of like a measuring device, as a template on which to build from. So, if I go to this side and I build a 4-meter foundation, like so. And now I have something to snap to, so I build another one. Now I'm eyeballing it. The top of the second 4-meter foundation is above clearly, I think it clears the constructor down there. So that is the altitude we want to shoot for, I think. So then I build across, because I'm still zooping. It's a zooper feature. So I build across to here, and there we go. Then I can kill off the ones on the end. Now I just have these foundations floating on top of these structures. I mean, these storage containers. So I want to close that up somehow. And let's clear up, since I reopened this road, or just opened the space. Let's mark it. I mean, I'm the only one here, so I know it's a open zone or whatever, but here we go. It looks official now. So how do I close this up? To make it look nice. And I think the way to go is another foundation. Right? But we don't need a whole foundation. What I need is the half. There we go. Half foundation, 4 meters. Get it to line up. It's really fighting me on this. I might have to just build to the side. That's not right. Oh, almost as squarely as the conveyor belt. Let's see. So if I it's not being very helpful. Oh, that lines up. And now that lines up. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I want. And how does it look overall? If we do it on this end over here. Rotate it. How does that look? I got these cool tunnels in between storage containers, which will be important because these are containers I'll interact with manually. Need to access them. But it certainly looks good. And we tried applying labels to the sides of walls. That didn't work. So having foundations here gives me something I can print on. And this ladder will now let me get to the top of this. I don't want this ladder to go all the way down to the ground here, though. So I think it's time to try out these catwalks. I bought them. Might as well use them. So forgot. Can't walk on. Oh, that's not quite what I need. So this, no. So rail on one side. That's what I need. But I only need it there because over on this one I need the rail on two sides. Like that. There we go. And it won't let me put a foundation underneath. Oh, I didn't realize it sticks out that far. It's only half a foundation block. There we go. There we go. That looks like, you know, somebody knows what they're doing. It's not, obviously, but it certainly looks like it. Okay. So now, this is where the second layer of storage will be, and the second layer of storage will define the height for the second layer of construction or assembly. But I want to be able to get around the storage at this level. I'm running out of plates again. Story of my life. So I have to get more plates. Now I'm stopping and thinking about this. There is the ramifications. I mean, this, all my planning goes out the window once I'm able to create something new and they introduce a whole new mechanic or something. Oh, and he's not chasing me anymore? Oh, he's chasing me still. Olé! Haha! No, don't run. You had to hit me. Okay. Yeah, schmuck. Can I drop off some copper? Nope. Can drop off ore? Nope. But I can pause the production and then I can drop off ore because there'll be a gap. Probably not very big. I'm not going to be here very long, but still. So run over here and check the smelter. Yeah, 11. We'll let that run for a little bit. Now, when I've been thinking about, right now I have one copper node and I have one smelter lined up to it, and that's pretty straightforward. But you see, I've got at least 3, maybe 4 iron nodes up there, and so those need to individually feed a whole system of smelters that will then send a single stream of iron ingots this way. And I haven't thought through that yet. Getting there. So, pick up where I left off. Extend this to here. Then grab a corner. And rotate it. Okay. Again, it kind of amazes me how something that I built starts to look adult, official, proper. Or at least to my newbie eyes, it does. Okay. Huh. Surface is too uneven. I assume it means that it's because it's hanging over the edge, right? Yet that is not hanging over the edge. So if I freeze the hologram and then nudge it out. Nudge it, not me. If I nudge it out to line up with... Look at that. It's no longer saying surface is uneven, and I think that lines up with the one... And now it... Okay. That makes even less sense. Now it's saying everything's cool, man. And if anything, the surface is more uneven than it was a minute ago. Nudge left. Okay, I think that lines up. So now we just need to do that for the rest of the row. See? Okay. Plans coming together. Whee! Huh. That looks like one of those sloop jobbers, but it also looks like they have a relatively easy way to get up to it, which this is probably something that I should have noticed and gotten 10 episodes ago. It certainly looks like they made it that easy to find and get to. Or maybe I overspoke. There we go. How do I get up from here? Can't just jump. Oh. A more narrow little trail here.
The effigies ripples through our temples, our veins nearly touch. It is shy, notes shall be taken and played.
From a certain perspective, your brain looks like it is processing language, but there is no auditory data. If you are hearing voices that are not mine, this is no cause for concern. It is a common side effect of extreme pressure and stress.
Yeah, thanks. I wonder where that extreme pressure and stress comes from. Not pointing fingers or anything. Well, yeah, I am. Speaking of a corporate grind, I don't hate work. It's just that, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, it pays the bills, but I'd much rather be doing this. I think we could all agree on that. I mean, here's the thing. If you have a job that you love more than playing computer games, I suspect you're probably not watching this video anyway. But if you do, by all means, pop a comment in the below and tell us about this wonderful job you have. And I'm sure we can all turn green with envy. So let's see. I was kind of hoping, like on the map, they would show the conveyor lines, but they don't. I wonder if you build other transportation systems, I wonder if they show up on the map, because that would be really, really useful. You know, recently I was playing some Transport Fever 2, and you know, you look at your routes and you know what type of line they are and stuff all the time. It's just part of the, you know, you can't manage a transportation system unless you see where the transportation system runs. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So I got plates. And we're back to the surface is too uneven. But we know that's a lie because you're gonna live with it here in a second. So let's line these up. Well, first we get it to accept it. Then we freeze the hologram. Then we line it up. See? And then we, you know, build it. And then lather, rinse, and repeat. Why is this one not turning yellow at all? I have plenty of plates. I have plenty of rods. But from this side, make it turn yellow. Same placement. Maybe I was standing within the frame on the other side. Maybe just when I start to get comfortable with this and think I know what I'm doing, something slaps me in the face and proves me otherwise. Okay. So this should finish it. Okay, so there's a second row of storage. And if we, well, yeah, I can fall this distance. If we come down here and look, huh? Yeah, okay, let's come all the way down here and take a gander. How do I reach the upper levels? Right? I need this to be, there's a multi-level support, right? So what happens is we've got the rods are coming out of this constructor, goes into the splitter, and now we move this to the next level up using the thing I don't understand. This thing. Not Mark II, Mark I. So this lines up like that, and then this thing. Oh, this is the part that threw me for a loop in the past. It always looked like it just went back on itself. I didn't realize I mean, I figured that there must be a way to turn it, or that would make it more useful, but then I realized, or I thought maybe it didn't. Huh. So now, you know what? That's not going to be high enough. Right? I need it. So, do I have two that make it reach up to the next level up? Right? So, there's something missing here. If I connect this here, and I go, oh, these guys think of everything. And it apparently has quite a reach. So So to know how high I need to raise it, I need to build another. I need to build the conveyor so I know how high to build it to. So the stackable conveyor pole. Do I have to replace that pole, or does it build on this? Or it's... Huh. Really has nothing to do with it. It's just going to straddle it, right? So I can stack them. Hence the term, right? Okay. So stack it again. And I think that gets me to the first foundation. Each of these looks like they're about 2 meters. So that should be, in theory, 4 meters. So if we set up each of these, basically do the same thing. And then look at what I did. I screwed up. Surprise, surprise. The second layer is not lined up with the first layer. They all got to come down. Gotta come down. How do you... trying to figure out how... There we go. To kill off... I don't want to kill off that power line, though. Killing off multiple things at once. Ta-da! Okay, I just looked at the time and it is getting late. So I would like to get this sorted out and even running before I call it a night. So I need to line up my container on this organization, on this conveyor line I'm making. It shows me that it's lined up. Now I just need to make sure it's lined up on the bottom here with the other container. I think it is. And then yeah, I just realized that these are all right next to each other, and that's too close, right? If you remembered when I was on the lower level, I was able to run between them because they're not right next to each other. There's actually one per foundation. So I need to line this back up, not on the storage container next to it. I mean, there is some of that, but I need to line it up so it's in the middle of the foundation it's sitting on. Like that. so many variables. And of course, it's all that variation that gives you flexibility and adaptability, which makes the game fun, right? You're not forced to do things a certain way over and over again. Huh. Interesting, it's showing me this sideways alignment thing, which it's only showing now. It wasn't showing it before. Don't know quite the rhyme or reason for it to pop up now and not before. It is certainly a welcome feature, I'll tell you that. Maybe it just needed a few to realize the pattern I was making here, and then it could help guide me on it. So now if I try to line this up to this, look at that, straight as an arrow, vertically and horizontally. Okay. Man, I must be attracting these walking water balloons. Or they're like cats, right? If the cat feels like you're ignoring it, they will just walk into the middle of whatever you're doing. Kind of declare their presence. Excuse me, thank you. Okay, so then this is the question, right? I want to have a belt built so that I know what to line this thing up to, but to do that, I actually kind of have to establish the constructor on this end. So like I did before, I will build the extra foundations to establish the height. Then I build one here that the constructor will sit on. And then let's just wall this up like we did on the other one, on the other end. Like this. And that should make it like the other side, right? I think so. And we can build a ladder here. No. Have to build it on the side. And whoa. Ah, my half foundation was rotated. I don't want it rotated. Rotate it back like that. Oh. So that kind of works, except it's blocking half the input. So let's change this to a wall. And it won't block the input. I think that's pretty much it for this episode. Can I build my ladder? build something so I can get to the top and look down and there we go. So yeah, I think this will be it for tonight. But this is the work we did. We built this redistribution zone out here between these construction. Construction and storage. And this will give me opportunity to divert materials as needed. So I think we're in a much better place than where we were yesterday or last time. And yeah. So I want to thank you for tuning in. And I want to thank my channel members for being channel members and participating and bouncing ideas off each other. All of it is good stuff. If you haven't already subscribed or liked or both, please do so. I'm looking forward to our next outing where we finish cleaning this up and find the next mistake that I made during this episode. So really, thank you for being here, watching me painfully make these mistakes. It's a lot of fun, though. It's a lot of fun. And with that, I hope this finds you and yours in good health, good spirits, and perhaps a touch of good fortune. Cheers.